In 1991, after nearly half a century of communist rule, the People's Socialist Republic of Albania collapsed. Now, unlike other Eastern European communist states that underwent de-Stalinization and modernization efforts in the late 20th century, Albania didn't. That's because the leader of Albania, Hoxha, was a devout Stalinist. So for over 40 years, the Albanian people lived in extreme isolation, harsh political and religious persecution, with some even dubbing it the North Korea of Europe. That's why today I'm in Tirana, Albania, the capital, and together we're going to explore, hopefully talk to some locals, and maybe find some remnants of this country's communist past. Let's do it. How are you guys? I'm from America. I'm showing my friends Albania.
Do you live here around?
No, I don't. I'm just visiting.
Okay, nice.
Yeah. Do you like living here? It's a good...
It's alright.
Oh, it's alright? It's a couple blocks away. Okay. Alright,
Okay,
I'm gonna head out.
Because camera here is problem.
Okay, so don't record around here?
No, just walk on the record. It's alright.
Okay, thank you.
No, bro.
Very nice meeting you.
Me too, bro.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye, guys. I'm not sure if that guy was trying to warn me or if he was like welcoming me. I guess we'll find out. You know, ever since the collapse of communism, or right after the collapse of communism, Albania went through a period of very, very intense privatization that essentially plunged the entire country into a depression and increased crime, organized crime en masse. And so the country's been slowly recovering from that all the way since the 1990s. Right now I'm walking over to a local cafe to speak with a local that I met a couple days ago. Hopefully we'll get to ask him some questions about what it was like living during this period. We'll see. Oh. So this is my friend Alex. He's a local pastor here, and he's lived in Tirana your whole life, right?
Mm-hmm. I was born here.
And you were saying earlier that all the buildings around here were built during the communist period?
All the buildings around here have been built during the communist regime, and let's say that all buildings were 4, 5, and 6 floors. None of them has a lift. So
none of them have lifts? Wow.
No. Lift was unknown at that time.
Here we have a perfect example of exactly what he was talking about. He said almost every single building within this town, especially the ones that go up to 3 or 4 or 5 floors, were all built during the communist period, and they don't have lifts, they don't have elevators. So you gotta walk up the stairs and you gotta go all the way up. And I read that people didn't have cars either until the 90s.
No, nobody. Just bike.
No one had cars. Wow.
No, even just bike, not motorcycles or not cars, no. Except the politician or governor. When foreigners were here, we were not able to hide things. Poor people, poor policemen, bad uniform, bad shoes.
Were they allowed to go anywhere, or were?
No, it was not allowed to do their own will. But it's a plan.
A guided tour, so you had to be with them?
Yeah, there. Not there. In these places, not in those places. I received Christ, it was in 1988, 2 years before the revolution, because I used to work as a tour guide, and I was the guide of a Swedish group, and one of the ladies from the group, when we were almost to cross the border,
yes,
I mean to former Yugoslavia, she said, Alex, I have a package for you. Oh, give it to me. I like packages. And she said, okay, I'm going to give you that shoe box, but please don't open it just when I crossed the border.
Yes.
I was not patient. So I opened it on the spot and I saw 4 Bibles, New Testament, and 4 music cassettes. When I came home, it was 2 o'clock in the morning, almost I stayed with my wife to read the Bible and to listen to music, but it was very dangerous that time. I was afraid of...
Yes. So it was illegal, right? You could not be religious at all.
No. It was the most important decision in my life.
Yes.
Now I don't care for cars or for airplanes or submarine or houses or villa or I don't know. I give Jesus. And who has Jesus has everything.
And there he is, Alex the missionary. So he was telling me, and I've read this online, that Albania has about 700,000 bunkers dotted all throughout the country as part of an initiative from the communist leader Enver Hoxha to basically make the country impenetrable from any other nation trying to attack, from Yugoslavia, from the Soviet Union. We're gonna go take a look and see if we can find some bunkers. During the privatization of the 90s, it caused a massive construction boom. So houses and sky rises started being built all over with many times no consideration for zoning laws or regulations. So you have plenty of electrical lines like this, which you see they just go out. I don't even know how you tell where one house's lines begins and where the other ends. Here's a good example. So far, a very common sight walking the streets of Albania. Can I have a water? Water? Yes, please. Little. You have a very lovely shop. Thank you so much. Faleminderit. Oftentimes people get a little bit mad, like, why are you showing just, these random alleyways and these random houses? But I think this is actually the most interesting part to see, because this is where you get where people actually live and the kind of lifestyles that they have. And you don't really get that when you go into the center of the city. Oh, this is the mosque, I think. Wow. So the map's telling me that there's a road here and I can get up to the bunkers. I don't know. Oh, okay, here it is. Hello. Are there bunkers here? Do you speak English? Bunker. No bunker? Down there? Okay, thank you. Faleminderit. He said go straight. Maybe I'll find something there. We found it! A bunker! There it is. One of the communist bunkers built during the reign of Enver Hoxha. Take a look. You can see inside. Probably enough room for like 3 people at most. And again, very heavily armored, dome shape. They could have covered this with a bunch of debris or with branches. This is where they would probably enter. Very small. And so yes, 700,000 of these guys all over the country of Albania. And here's another one. Another one of the bunkers, and it's right here on the city street. No one was going to get into this country if Enver Hoxha had a say about it. Now, this really encapsulates the sort of paranoia that he had about being invaded, and truth be told, he wasn't entirely wrong. When you think about Albania's history, they were invaded by the Ottomans, they were occupied by the Austro-Hungarians in World War I, again by the Italians in World War II and the Germans. And so when relations soured between them, Yugoslavia, the USSR, and eventually China... Not allowed to come here? Okay. Is this...
Don't tilt this.
Okay. Okay, so I evidently wandered into the front yard of some politician's house and they kicked me off. They said, you can't be here. It was interesting because he had a massive Stalin and Lenin statue in his front yard. But as I was saying, when relations soured between Albania and Yugoslavia, and furthermore the USSR, they were not going to take any chances on being invaded again. And that's why they set up bunkers all across the nation. Look at this stunning building. That looks like early communist Stalinist style. Because the Stalinist style actually wasn't brutalist buildings. That came actually a little bit later. Oh, okay, I think it's a school. Yeah, you got people in the graduate caps. Very cool. Guess everyone's out for the summer. Like I was saying, the architecture that we know now as communist architecture wasn't actually initially what was beginning to be built by the communists, especially during the World War II period. So for instance, if you take a look at the Soviet Union, the apartment buildings that they had were called Khrushchevkas because they were instituted by Khrushchev, which was after Stalin. Stalin himself was known for building, or at least liking, to commission buildings that were very grand and very beautiful. So, Enver Hoxha, being a staunch Stalinist, perhaps he was the same way. I'm not sure. I would imagine so. Look at these super modern buildings. This area we're in is pretty nice, huh? It's known as the Block, and every good communist country has one of these. Let me explain. So under communism, regular people don't have access to outside goods, entertainment, comforts, and the communist leaders, they like it that way. That is, except for themselves. You see, they want to enjoy all of it, but regular people, no, not for them. And so they built this residential area for themselves called the Block, an entire neighborhood where they have access to all Western things. They have access to Western movies and theaters, to cars and to clothing. And as you can see, it is very beautiful. But again, no regular people were allowed in, and it was guarded very well. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. The house of the supreme leader, the president, I don't know what you call him, Enver Hoxha. This was where he lived, in this massive mansion, 3 stories, fountains outside. So while his people were living in abject poverty and some of the worst economic turmoil in the entire world, Albania was one of the poorest countries in the entire world at this point, he lived in this mansion. Say what you will about capitalism, but this is communism. This right here is one of the government ministry buildings that they would have used and perhaps still use. I think they're guards, so maybe it's still in use. And right here you can see a typical sort of communist carving on the building. We have workers on the bottom that have their hay and their shovels. You have the industrial workers on the top with their pickaxes, the communist star, and on top the revolutionaries, those who actually fought to bring about the communist revolution here. Okay. I've been searching for this one building now for like the past hour almost, and it was really hard to find because no one has it on the maps anymore, and a lot of the locals don't even know what it is. But here it is. This is the building. This building, this is called the Dajti Hotel, a Dajti Hotel. Let me get a little bit closer. Here it is, the Dajti Hotel. Now the building has been bought out by some bank or something, and they use it for different purposes now. But it was during the time of communist Albania that this building housed the majority of tourists who came into the country. If you remember the conversation I had with Alex this morning, tourism was very highly regulated, much like how North Korea is now today. And so in this building, it was heavily laced with microphones and recording software in order to tell, or not hardware, okay. Recording hardware to essentially be able to tell if someone was spying. It's still well guarded today.
I was on duty at that time, and I know a machine for how do you say hearing devices.
Yes, listening devices.
Yeah, very complicated devices.
Yes. it is fascinating how they don't seem to be super friendly towards people taking videos of the buildings that were once used during this communist period. A lot of them are open, but several of them, like the one earlier that some politician lived in that had the Stalin statues, and now this one, it's just a hotel building. Why does it matter that, you know, someone wants to take a video of it? Anyways, off to the city center. We made it to the square now, Skanderbeg Square, and here is the most famous mosaic in Albania. You can see figures represented all throughout Albanian history, with the ancient Illyrians on the left, the medieval fighting Albanians, those with guns, the modern revolutionaries, the communists. I've been walking around for like 6 hours now, and it's been like 90 plus degrees, like 94 degrees Fahrenheit, I think, all day. I am pretty exhausted. I'm gonna head back to the hotel, get some rest, and we'll continue this tomorrow where I have something really cool in store for you. All right, I'll see you then. All right, fellas, so yesterday I told you that I have a big treat for you today. And so right now I'm walking over to a cafe to meet a local politician. I'll get to ask him some questions about history, about what life is like here, politics, what life was like under communism. Just get a better grasp of how things are here. Let's do it. Very fancy place.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good. You are filming?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Vlog.
Because here it isn't allowed to film.
Okay. So I got kicked out. Filming's not allowed. So I'm just sitting outside the cafe right now, and we're waiting for our friend to see when he's gonna show up. Okay, we found each other. Unfortunately, he doesn't speak English and I don't speak Albanian, so we're searching for a translator right now who can help us out so we can talk to each other and ask some questions. And this is the lovely Skanderbeg Square. Look. I'm standing here with the General Director of the National Archives of Albania, and I'm just gonna ask him a couple questions. We have some lovely people who offered to translate. They're standing behind camera. If he could introduce his name.
Gjet Ndoj.
Gjet Ndoj. Okay. You told me that you were born in the 1960s, and that as General Director, you've seen the archives relating to communism in the regime. Can you tell me what life was like?
Në aty kohë ne jetonim brenda një regjimi që ishte totalitar, nuk kishin hapësira për të pretenduar shumë dhe e gjeni veten brenda një hapësire të kufizuar dhe ambiciet e tyre ishin po brenda këtyre limiteve. Në fazën e parë, sistemi komunist në Shqipëri ka qenë i hapur ndaj asaj që quaj familje vendet, familje socialiste të dominimit rus sovjetik, ndërsa në fazën e dytë pas vitit 1962 deri në vitin 1990 ka qenë një fazë e izolimit total. Surpriza ishte se Enver Hoxha në fazën e parë, njerëzit e ditur, atë stres intelektuale që mund të shërbente në administratën e shtetit, nuk e goditi më njëherë sepse kishte nevojë për ta. Fazën e dytë, në këtë fazë të dytë, ata u shmangën, e shumë prej tyre shkuan dhe në përburgje.
A lot of people think that leaving communism, which of course is better, would lead to immediate success within the country. But from what I've read, Albania actually went through economic turmoil right after they left communism. It was the same thing with Russia in the 1990s. Can you describe this period?
Destruktimi i sistemit, pavarësisht se ishte një sistem i prapambetur dhe i izoluar, gjithsesi solli një përkeqësim akoma më të madh e ekonomisë edhe të zhvillimit në të vendit. Klasa politike që ka pas vitit 90 duke shfrytzuar këtë destruktim të rënje të gjithë strukturës ekonomike, natyrisht kanë abuzuar dhe janë kërpjekur që ta mbajnë gjendjen në stagnacion në prapambetje për të patur mundësinë e vazhdimit pushtetit. Megjithatë zhvillimi është të vonuar, por mos i pa ndalsh. Shqipëria natyrisht është shumë më mirë se çka ka qenë në kohën e komunizmit aktualisht. Njerëzit kanë mundësi më shumë, janë më të lirë, sado që nuk marrin maksimumin e mundshëm që t'u jepte sistemi, janë ekonomikisht më të pasur, kanë alternativa më shumë dhe janë më mirë se çka që nuk krahasohet me kohën e komunizmit.
A huge thank you to historian and scholar Gjet Ndoj for answering my questions despite the translation difficulties. He has written and published nearly a dozen books on Albanian history and geopolitics. You should definitely go check them out. This city is the best example of the modernization of this country, where on one hand you have these huge infrastructure projects, very beautiful, very modern, being built, and on the other hand you have the remnants of what the country used to be, some of the older buildings here. And so, don't want to get run over. And so yes, it's a very interesting time in this country's history to get to witness the modernization and yet the relics of the old, which still stand here. And here is where we're going to leave it, friends. The former headquarters of the Sigurimi, the secret communist police force here in Albania. Think about the German Gestapo or the Soviet NKVD. It was here that they headquartered and they possibly organized their purges or they interrogated prisoners. So I imagine a very feared building once here in Albania. Now it's been turned into a museum. The House of Leaves, Museum of Secret Surveillance. I've had a wonderful time here in Tirana and in Albania. People have been very nice and very accommodating. You can certainly see that it's a country and a city that's developing very, very quickly. So we will be back here again. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you had a good time. I'll see you guys next time.